Good, you're all on. Sorry for being late. Yeah, I feel like the times are getting shorter as the world turns back to, post-COVID. I don't know how you all are. Are you feeling that too? That uh, kind of, uh, yeah, when people all were more online, that we had more hours in the day. Uh,
I do feel a little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah, so my energy related projects are coming back, and I'm super happy about that, of course. But it's an entirely different world, so it takes a lot more attention and changing my mindset. So I'm feeling that a little bit. Yeah. So sorry again. I'm just pulling up the agenda. And I don't know if you had time to talk about or basically to exchange on any of those points that I put on the agenda. Um, but basically, yeah, of course, one is the tea ethics principles after your talks or the exchange between Nick and Durgadas, and also before that, and in other communities, what uh, what uh, what I witness is this self-sovereignty, this agency and autonomy, which is actually, the basic tenet of crypto or cypherpunk culture, right? That gave rise to crypto economics, and it's very different from just distributed systems, peer-to-peer, etc. So that is actually quite a big unsolved topic. So, but I found it wonderful in our Omega exchange in the chat to follow the exchange, and also the insights that Nick and Douglas shared. So that was super interesting to see, or it really emerged. And at the same time, that is a faculty that we need, so that this whole incentive mechanism design and reward people to do things doesn't become, this creme de la creme of social engineering at global scale. So that was something I would like to discuss if you're up for it, but that might take a bit longer depending on, right? And the second point is the Tea Consilience Project. Um, I think all of you know, right? And if not, please ask. Caesar, you are new, right? Um, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to just jump in and ask. Also, any clarifications, of course. We all know it's very hard to stay on top of those topics that are, yeah, a lot and also very diverse. But these are basically the two initiatives that we're into, the Tea Ethics and Tea Consilience projects with the library. And Matt actually reached out and said that he has now time and would like to actually discuss how we can move that forward. So I guess, Matt, we could have maybe start with that, depending on what we want to share, but basically just a brief update and how we could structure it in Notion is one suggestion, but maybe the others have. And then basically an incentive structure. First of all, just for people who might not have been into the weeds of token engineering, to give them an idea of how one can design incentives. In this case, for curation. Um, yeah, that's one topic. If it's okay for everyone, I'd like to go into that first. And the second half, we can go long and deep into the ethical principles, and most of all, also how to keep track, how to keep those make those accessible. Again, Notion pages is an option. So yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Then then let's go into the Tea Consilience Project, right? Um, so basically, we have this document, Mart. You had a look into it, right? Um, where we already started mapping some interesting resources just by the people here who participate in Omega, without really dictating at all, who is the curator, but really your participation and your interest counts. Sharing from those topics that we see here, resources that have helped you to actually, um, find your way to token engineering, crypto economics, and also share some highlights. So that's actually quite brief and quite uh, yeah, it's a good start, I guess, to work on this synthesizing of knowledge with the library.
Yeah. So, Shana, after we talked, I look at
Hmm.
how to like construct library on Notion. I find quite good
Hmm.
examples actually. Even Notion itself has like templates for creating libraries, and
Right.
I also learned a little bit about how to manipulate them. So, for example, some of
Hmm.
them does not look pretty for me. So I little bit
Hmm.
learned about how to like navigate it. So
Perfect.
maybe if everybody is okay with Notion, we will just kickstart a Notion page about this library and laid it out as a draft. Then we will have a
Hmm.
feedback session about, for example,
Hmm.
people will say like, "Oh, this is not inconvenient to use. Like this part, I don't like. This
Hmm.
part, I like more." So then we will like remake it.
Hmm.
Then after we laid out like our front end, maybe we will talk or even before from that, we will talk about like, let's say, for example, in 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, we talked about like how to choose creators, how to incentivize them,
Yeah.
how, for
Hmm.
example, like should we go like more technocratic approach or more democratic? So, for
Hmm.
example, I give the example of, for example, let's say a curator will be an absolute beginner to crypto space who tried to
Hmm.
show his journey and
Hmm.
which documents were helpful him to like gain knowledge in this space. So, for example, I am pretty much very new compared to probably most of others.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
maybe my contribution on token economics will be limited compared to somebody, but my
Hmm.
contribution in orientation will be higher. So I don't think we should
Yeah.
have like very
Yeah.
technocratic approach there. So,
Cool.
but there's another question arose: how do we value them? So we cannot
Hmm.
let everybody to just spread their articles, so it won't be like beneficial thing to learn. So maybe we will
Hmm.
have like incentivized mechanism, like maybe upvotes like Reddit. For example, since you think that you are a newcomer, you just click
Hmm.
orientation, like creation. You really liked it. You just click upvote. So among orientation kind of articles or creations, it will be
Hmm. Hmm.
more on the top, so people will like
Hmm.
read it.
Hmm.
Or like even for incentivizing those people, we can like give some bounties to them. Like if you can make
Mm-hmm.
the best 3 pages, you will gain this much or that much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are the things in
Nice. Perfect. Yeah.
these are the things I'm
Um.
also for the upvotes. I really like to have like weighted upvotes. Like
Mm-hmm.
for example, in again I gave the same example when I was hanging out in Reddit. I sometimes feel like should I upvote it or downvote? But if I have like allocate my upvoting power in a way, I
Mm-hmm.
will upvote more to let's say like I will upvote 60% to this quote, let's say, but not 100%.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that will be good. And also
Mm-hmm.
we can make like reputation points. Like for example, as TE members, for example, you are a
Yeah.
steward, you are more like experienced than let's say a newcomer. So your upvotes will count. I believe I should count more than let's say just a person who just joined TC like me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
Which
at
will
the
be,
same time, right, you might be a much, and you are literally every newcomer, and that's what I'm saying. Like anyone who is into getting into token engineering, even after being out of it for some time, you are the perfect candidate to actually improve the orientation, right? Because these are the things that once people are, through one rabbit hole and into the next, you forget your aha moments, and those are actually very valuable. So,
yeah. So
mm,
actually, what's
Have
reputation? Very good question, hard one. Like how to decide who has better reputation. Maybe we can decide
mhm.
like democratically
Yeah,
and
I would also say let's start this with the simplest um, and fun. Basically, the structure in Mario is the most important one. That we get it up, that we get started somehow. The creators, it's just, let's start with us in the beginning. Let's start with our network. Of course, we can, like, reaching out to the OGs is not a problem in a sense, but I'm really, really, really always interested in the newcomers because you're also bringing new perspectives and the diversity basically. Again, that we discovered that this even still is not radically inclusive because it is more academic oriented or assuming some background education or places a framing on the importance of that. Um, Whereas at the same time, we want permissionless global networks, right? So is the ability to see those gaps is really with every new player, if you will. So just as yeah, I would love to find something there that uh yeah, some sort of a weighting of like new insight. I don't know, something like uh um someone who's been in the weeds, let's say, for years, and someone new coming in, and the one player, let's say, who's been here for 3 years says, "Oh wow, I had not seen that before." I believe that would be such a, something like I think in source code it's something like power or creds flowing from one to the other. If that comes, for example, from an OG to a new entrant because they really, and that is really heartfelt.
mm,
That that I think that is could be empowering or could signal the value of it, that we don't end up in these themes. Oh, you're an apprentice. Well, you have to do 2 years and three Ave Maria, and then you will have the reputation points. But
yeah.
I think we should definitely have a way such that those new insights that can only emerge because someone with a new perspective is coming in, and has all that it takes, so they could come up with this insight or with this new. Um, yeah, totally. Like for orientation, there is no better suited source than the newcomers, new players,
So,
and we should
so what
definitely
one
rate that somehow. Hmm.
yeah. So I'm just thinking about kind of like the the tools that we could use, right? So I think I haven't
Hmm.
I know what source cred is. I haven't actually played with it.
Yeah.
But one thing that we and I don't know again if this is like V1 or not, but you must have seen token log, right? What
Yes.
T
Yes.
Commons actually uses to vote, right? So it's
Hmm.
actually super easy to set up. Um,
Hmm.
and so we could literally like mint a token, right, that we give to
Hmm.
people in this group. Um, and
Hmm.
then every time that we publish something, although we put something there, then we issue tokens, right? And those tokens then can
Hmm.
be used to vote, and there's quadratic voting and other things there, right?
Exactly.
Um,
Hmm.
so we could do that, and I know that SourceCred pulls a lot of information from GitHub, right?
Hmm.
And token log too. So when you create so I actually have played with token log, and I have done
Hmm.
like voting stuff there, right? So you basically create an issue in GitHub, and that's what gets surfaced, right? And if I'm like, oh, I'm really interested in that, I click on it, and then takes me to the document, right? That lays out the proposal, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I could look into that. I can try to figure out how to put together source grid and token log as kind of like this one upvoting mechanism, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
two, the giving of of cred, right? If we
Hmm.
want,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I don't want to get ahead too far, right? Maybe that's
Yeah,
too
yeah.
like
So
in,
exactly like with the prototype, I loved it. Please share it also in the Omega channel. um, but just shared with me basically, how to start, how to continue, and keep making progress without figuring out the full system, right?
Mhm. Oh, you looked at it
Um,
already.
yes, it's super nice,
Yeah.
everyone. So please share it. Super insightful. It tells things that we have heard, but much more pointed. And basically, what we can really look into, like, I think number one again is really the structure that we get started at first. Um, One thing would be, if we can already sort in Notion, right? Um, that we have this, top five visibility kind of as being, and those that can move upward. Um, I don't know if that is already comes with Notion. We could already play there with those bounties
Hmm.
and see how that works out. If it is not possible in Notion, because at the end it's just in quotation marks, it's just a database. Token log, definitely. I would have also thought so. And source grid is basically both of them are in use in Token Engineering Commons. So you're not on your own. If you want someone to help you, we can find someone who has already set it up. Um, and maybe I don't know if
Hmm.
someone in the group here already done so. No. So we can definitely have someone help there or shortcut basically. Um,
Hmm.
you just tell me like if you would like to have an overview of how those two are used in Token Engineering
Yeah.
Commons.
So yeah, I already know token log. I can do that.
Yeah. Hmm.
But for source cred, yeah, that'd be helpful. But I can also look online a little bit. But I mean,
Okay.
if there's someone who's an expert at it, then yeah, that'd be amazing. So that would shortcut it for sure. But if not, I can look at it.
Exactly. So no, totally take your time, and if you want to have shortcuts, then we can I can arrange a session, and I'd like to also learn more about it. So
Oh yeah.
definitely would be game. So
Why don't we do it then?
um
Let's just if you don't mind, if you know somebody, let's just if yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'll ask, I'll tag you. But what would be really wonderful if you know, like Matt took over and said, I'm gonna look into Notion and how to make it. If this is anyway something, Roberto, that interests you, if you can just take the lead to get people together, like I'll be in there, but finding a time, etc., or asking people, that's
Yeah.
my how do you call it, kryptonite.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, totally.
so
So
perfect,
so yeah, I'm
cool.
happy to so yeah, if Notion has the upvoting functionality already, then yeah, maybe we can stop it, or we can not use token log. The
Hmm.
only thing with token log, which I think would be interesting, is the ability, like I can mint a token, right? That's
Yeah.
just like a play token for us, right? And then
Hmm.
distribute, and then people would be able to vote with tokens and
Yeah. Yeah.
with quadratic voting, so it's a little bit more conviction, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we can do that.
So
That's not
what?
too hard. I can do that if
Cool.
we're interested in
Cool.
it. So
Cool. Yes, we are. Definitely. And again, like that gets people to use token log. Maybe they're not always how do you call it, in the know what to vote on. And I, for example, haven't yet voted on anything token engineering commons related. I really leave
right,
that
right.
to the people who are more in it. But you know, I'd love to go through the process anyways. At some point, I will. And you
Yeah,
know, and I guess people here in Omega, maybe they're more interested to just use it and you know, just waiting resources that they find useful might be just the scenario that gets them to use token lock and the tooling basically. And that's what I really like, the suggestion that we use the same tooling, same infrastructure to get people to use to learn. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So is
Um,
um, so how should we coordinate then? Because yeah, I think that Notion is definitely prettier looking than token lock. So should I wait until we find out, or what do you guys think?
Matt, what do you think? I,
I,
I I think it would be, I don't know, maybe, yeah, please go ahead.
go ahead, please. Like you were saying something.
Just I haven't looked into, but if you research and you don't come up with something that seems to cut it, like I don't know, sorting or upvoting, if you look for it and you come out empty, just after a short search, if you just basically ping Roberto on the Discord, and also use the chat so everyone else is also in the know what we're doing. Um, that would be it, right? Just a short search if one could use it, and if yes, we just use it already to play with it. But token lock would be interesting in any case because um, I will definitely or as a group we should definitely ask for budget for these projects. Just to have, first of all, a distribution mechanism for token
Hmm.
engineering or for tech tokens, right? But I don't know. I think they will take maybe more time than we want to get started. So not to be, we don't have to wait. We can start with those play tokens even. But at some point, this can be a nice way. This literally, this library can be a nice way for actual usage of token engineering or tech tokens, and also to connect it with other communities like Metagame, right? Because they were planning a meta library where basically Peth suggested that we could, just add this to their section on cryptoeconomics. And at the same time, we can also try out, test the My Meta profiles for the curators. For these new ratings or reputation, we can basically use and test what My Meta enables there. And that's basically more or less, again, a playground for people to connect through different communities, exchange knowledge and tokens, if you will, right? So that's why definitely token log, go ahead, right? Because I believe we're going to use it in any case. And then also, yeah, let's do it like this. Let's say play token first, then take, yeah, tokens. Next, yeah.
Okay, and okay, yeah. Let me know if anyone wants to kind of like, I can show you, like I've done it already, so I can do it by myself. But if anyone wants to look at how it's done, I'm happy to do that too.
Cool. Cool. So I'm game. I want to. And also, I'll
Okay.
just ask someone to tag along. I think Septimus has experience, and he's normally also in Omega. I find basically one of the other stewards to come along, just to that we can get or exchange some information about how we can set this up with tech tokens at
Mm-hmm.
some point, and when that point would be. Cool.
I think we are on very good track, but even though I said Notion will be a good place to arrange, we think of adding actually too much features, which I don't think will be very possible to do it on
Mm-hmm.
Notion.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe initially to arrange we can use it, but if it is get too complicated for Notion,
Mm-hmm.
we can try to use something else. But
Mm-hmm.
to work at least first at the beginning, like to have a kickstart,
Yeah.
like to have structure,
Mm-hmm.
how do we do it, like to discuss our ideas in a coherent way so
Mm-hmm.
people can see, like if we like to apply like fonts, our stewards also can look
Mm-hmm.
easily, like so it will be succulent to look at it. So I think to start the Notion page now will be beneficial. And
Mm-hmm.
also we can like create a
Mm-hmm.
working group chat so people can just update it also, and also updates on Omega Discord chat.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can kickstart like this. Then, if it is obstacle like the limited features of Notion, we should look
Mm-hmm.
something else.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. I agree. I think that maybe only the proposal stuff I would take off Notion, because Notion is really good, right, to coordinate and put a lot of knowledge
Mm-hmm.
into it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think that I would think that Notion will always be there, I guess is what I'm saying. And then if we want to do these edge things with tokens and things, that we would take that out of there. But I agree, it makes sense to have Notion as being
Okay.
the main.
So basically, perfect. I am putting just your name so people know who to tag or ask. And then and basically feel free really to run with it, and then also to ask people to join and spar like the structuring or the content, putting the content into the structure, Matt. I'm always game. Just yeah, sometimes need a ping, basically. And also others who are interested. I don't know, Cesar. would you like to share whether you're following? This makes all sense. You get the gist, or do you have any questions?
To be quite honest, I'm still kind of just like soaking everything in. And so I'm just in kind of like observing learning mode right now. If there's anything specific you would want me to talk about, I'm happy to do that.
No, just feel welcome. I just wanted to. Sometimes people don't speak up, although they have a lot valuable insights to share. I just wanted to make sure you feel welcome to share anytime when you feel like it.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay, so Nick, would you like to add something? Any question? Is this a project or is this an initiative you'd also participate in?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm definitely interested in helping set this up for sure. Actually,
Mhm,
this part here about the TEC tokens next aligns with the dashboard idea that I proposed um like a couple weeks ago or something, where
mhm,
we would just have a dashboard where people can just create posts and vote with their TEC tokens and then gain reputation. But yeah,
mhm.
that's that
Cool.
aligns with very far in the future kind of thing. So I'd love to help
Okay.
with the startings of it.
Okay. Okay. So perfect. And also, I know Letty, she's into it. So definitely, yeah, definitely perfect. Look forward to it. And also, if there's need for structuring, but I guess it's pretty. I'm saying let's start with this, but also quite open to actually, first of all, make clear that we're really interested in the overlap of both the humanities and the engineering heavy uh, sides, but also not only, right? Maybe we really have a freestyle crypto economics or this section, and there were actually some links already in the one document where I would say, hey, this is even crypto economic system native because it tries to already capture, or it has already captured the synthesized view of more than just one pattern, like looking at crypto economics from just game theory, uh, but not only, but also from psychology, decision making, computer science, AI, that type of overlaps. I think it's also, of course, quite exciting, and I guess the whole weighting will also add another additional informational layer to it, so that people can enjoy orienting themselves in that library. Okay, so next topic would be TE ethics principles. TE token engineering ethical principles, and we had one focus group already, right? Where basically the OG token engineers and token engineers in the trenches who actually apply and model. So mostly from the technical side, if you will, were asked to participate and then share their more or less pain points, right, when it comes to making decisions, and those decisions being a typical dilemma. Like there is no right or wrong. It's just going to um, be a difficult decision. How do you orient yourself? And those three emerged from I would say our work in the past weeks, starting from starting from that focus group, and we even again last week we put it together in this sessions list. We also really have people working towards making those principles not just acknowledge different worldviews. If you're lucky, you might know what that means, right? But actually, really working through accepting that there are multiple worldviews always. And most likely you have not just one, two, but a multitude of those present in the token economy you're creating, etc. And then how do you work through that as a token engineer, as a participant, as a practitioner, anyways, because those different worldviews are actually the source of those dilemmas emerging, if they emerge, and then actually they can be transformed. But oftentimes it's even those parallel worldviews exist, and people thinking and acting only in their worldviews don't even touch the other ones. Explanations, etc. So we have these acknowledged different worldviews, reflect on the dynamic landscape. It's literally decision-making frameworks when there is not just one best practice to follow, but it's actually dynamic landscape. We have really material for that, and then enabled informed participation. Of course, as a token engineer, like really make understandable what it is that has been embedded as incentives, why, and how people can actually be part of the design of those incentives, or at least be part of changing those after seeing how they've been affected by those. And the third one, from this enable informed participation, actually that started this great thread from Nick and Dogedas, and then it was basically all about having, we have these memes or these sentences floating around, right? Not your keys, not your coins, or do your own research. But these are actually calls for participation, for saying this technology is giving an agency, autonomy. What are you going to do? And it's very powerful. What are you going to do with that power when you participate, when you vote, when you propose things? How? Right? It's literally before you even start. Why do you know that a decision is worth making? How do you form these beliefs in the first place? As you hear, that's the one aspect of token engineering I personally struggle with the most, and I think it's really the deepest. And it really, token engineering can be likened to system engineering a lot, and I think really the technical part is clear. It is tough, yes, but it can be handled. Or okay, coming from the technical side, it seems like it's complicated, but we can deal with it, right? We have the tools, or at least best practices or emerging practices in the technical side. And coming from that side, the community first aspect, this whole self-sovereignty, is very hard. I don't know if that's the other way around. Actual people who are more active on this at the social interaction level, I don't know, economics or just community building or just being a sociable person in the first place, whether that is super clear, of course, self-sovereignty and community, this play between autonomy and the community, autonomy and interdependence, that's what, you know, draws you in there, and you feel super yeah, like a fish in water, and then you're basically just baffled by software engineering, financial engineering. That would be an interesting comment if someone wants to share, or is everyone like me more baffled with this whole community first and self-sovereignty aspect of token economies? And of course, like this new one, beware of social engineering. Does that sound well with you, or do you say I cannot relate? I don't know what it's really meaning. What that really means.
Yeah, I think all of those are super interesting headlines, right? And what catches my eye is that, you know, there's kind of like inherent tensions between all of them, right? One, like social engineering, beware of that just in general, right? But then almost like um in a counterpoint to that is like, oh, but we need to build a community, and we need to build social norms, and we need to be, so what's the where's the line between social engineering, as in, you know, social credits and things like that in China, right, versus building the community? Where's that line, right? And then another
Exactly.
line between community and individualism and self-sovereignty, right? So where is that line? And you know,
Exactly.
when you know, when do we say, yeah, I mean, I think that with vaccines, that's been front and center, right? Kind of like a lot of people feel that it infringes upon their individual rights, right? And self-sovereign individual rights, maybe, right? But from a community perspective, there's a ton of benefits to having herd immunity, right? So all of those are really interesting, but I don't know how to solve them. I think that they just pose the tensions, like they kind of like surface those tensions.
Yeah, yeah. So I had a brief chat with Fabian. He is behind all of this. Meaning, like, he was this first person actually really deep in those, what I think, uncomputable things. and basically, but also being a computer science, you know, being able to speak a language that I understand, that didn't sound woo woo, is actually how this whole started, right? And the thing is, what he just mentioned was really metaphor of a lighthouse, that basically shines light on, or even shines light from a place that is dangerous, but it doesn't steer a ship away from that. Like, literally, light. You know what that means. You know, you don't drive into that rock, or steer into that rock, but it's still in your hand, right? I mean, you might be sleeping, or you might not be fully there, but just knowing that there is something that can shine light, right? That, as you said, surfaces those dilemmas, saying we can't, maybe not solve it, but just to know, for every individual, and maybe then also, you know, we don't know. I don't know if anyone has solved it. We know in token engineering commons we're starting, gathering this qualitative data with praise and combining it with source grid that is just purely quantitative. That and then basically, how do you visualize that information? How do you frame it? Right, is quite interesting. But exactly as you said, like dilemmas are exactly there is no right or wrong, or you can't optimize for something and know that it's going to be perfect forever, right? This dynamic landscape, and just number one is just be comfortable that those dilemmas will arise, and be comfortable that based on your framing, if you say, I have to sacrifice autonomy for community, if that is the framing, like if that was a scale where you can't have dots in here as well as dots in here, or even personally, I think that's also, beliefs, our own belief systems. Like I come from Turkey, and I grew up then later in Germany. Cultural belief systems, and how different they are, and how different they make you think, like literally mindset. Uh, these are super interesting things just to become aware of. But then, if you could really give that as a tool, as a compass, as a sensor, uh, however this looks, like this Ikigai from the Invisible Economy, from the Dada Artist Collective, is something that drew my attention a lot, because it shows those tensions, or why tensions arise, right? And literally, they put Dada in the middle of of those tensions, meaning believing that there are actions that don't sacrifice autonomy against interdependence, but there is an action space where you act and you feel fully autonomous, and your action is actually filling up the community wealth. The same thing, like you earn money, right? But that doesn't mean that's by externalizing the bad, for maximizing your profits, externalizing on the greater, or yeah, externalizing the cost on the greater good, just to maximize your basic, your material outcome. So when you look at it, I always say like, aha, these are the da epiphanies. It's like, I think humans have been talking about these things for ever. Maybe since they started talking, right? And these are things that one cannot solve for, but just the awareness, and the awareness, I think it's super important, because I don't know how you all think, and maybe please do share. I will take a break and give space, so that you share. But if you are, for example, really problem solution, if that's been a mindset that you've been used to your whole career, learning and basically applied, then you don't even think that way. You have actually very linear optimization systems, and that's basically called, keep it simple, right? But that's also just truncating, literally, that we don't have CO2 priced into the cost of goods that we're consuming. It's not a market failure or anything. It's just something we chose. But these are the things that you don't think, depending on, right? Depending on what system, what the system enables you to see.
Yeah, I like the visual framing, and again, not offering answers, but just like highlighting the overlaps. I think that that's really cool, and yeah, it just got me thinking about other other places where this something like that could be applied for sure.
Mm, mm.
So,
And yeah, please.
uh, can I make a brief comment? Like, Shevna, when you were talking about how to move on with these ethical questions, actually, I've been thinking on those questions like a lot. So, for example, when you go into deep in philosophy, so there's two main school of thought. Like one is say we cannot decide which ethical position is better in quote unquote.
Hmm.
We should not
Hmm.
act towards, let's say, some certain ethical principle. However, but
Hmm.
as I agree with you, I think we should, even though we cannot know which ethical position is more beneficial to some people or society, but we should at least consider how to move on to better ethical principles to have, like, let's say, more just society. So even though
Hmm.
we cannot choose the, in again in quote unquote, the best ethical decisions, I believe there's some sort of ethical, like ethics are real.
Hmm.
So like morality has some objective component in it, I believe. So
Hmm.
even though we cannot find it like with like picking up the perfect moral ethical decision, I think trying to find or trying to act align with those idea of having like better morality would benefit society more.
Hmm.
I believe so. I agree with that. So while we are working on token engineering, transparency, etc., like ethics should be one of the central questions for sure. Like
Hmm.
denying it through like we cannot know which ethic is better, etc., etc.,
Yeah,
is, I believe, not a good strategy.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely. And I added guiding principles as just to make sure that it's not misunderstood. I mean, I hope it cannot be. Um, I was more thinking like, what do you think of these are, I would even say not acknowledge, but host. These are quite big phrases, right? But actually having some sessions that go deeper into what that means, this is going to be an interactive one. This is going to be into actually helping you with some mental models that are really useful, practical, um, just to see that, of course, you can't take a best practice from something not even as dynamic as token engineering is, uh, and use it on a token economy. Um, so those sessions should make these big guiding or rough guiding principles more tangible. But for sure, also the outcome literally will be there is no recipe, there is no like, for example, Ostrom's principles. Ostrom's, yeah, these are principles, right? Ostrom's principles for managing, or yeah, for managing commons, perfect. Uh, but they have been generated, created. The one thing, the minimal thing we should always be doing is to contextualize, right? You can say these seem to be good, but we still need to contextualize that into the specific token economy, the stakeholders, and what's important to them. Um, and then basically how one can do that. These are the things we can learn together, we can exchange on, and yeah, that's basically it. We were of social engineering, but then how when we are doing incentive mechanism design, and then coming up with maybe this, right? Coming up with lighthouses or sonars. Maybe it's just the best possible thing we have on offer right now in this group. But then again, that gives opportunity to see what similar things are being explored in other DAOs, in other communities, having a place that people can come in and learn more or exchange on these topics. I think that's what the Omega working group should be or become. Like, even if we have done these done our work, I would love this group to be here to exchange, to share new insights, anything related to these difficult but actually very rewarding questions. That would be my wish, even if I know at least in a month's time I will I will be MIA. So I would love to for us to have set this up basically, or have gone into a rhythm that people can come in, contribute. If they're gone for 2-3 weeks, they know they can come back, and there's still people here actually exchanging on those topics and gathering information and knowledge on these topics. Cool. So thanks a lot as always, for your participation and input.
One last request from you. Could you open a Notion? Like, I don't have access to TEC Notions page. So maybe can you grant me some access, like limited access, to create like a template or draft of library?
Yeah, I will.
I will send my email to you. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Okay, you're more than welcome, and thanks for raising your hand. That's wonderful. Cool. Okay.